So, I'm really tired. Some idiot set off the fire alarm at 2:30 this morning. We all had to go outside in the cold, and it was lovely. Hello, kindly people of YouTube. So, like I said in a previous video, I was working on a review for The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, and the whole Jeff Blim thing happened. So, now we are here to follow up on that. Full disclosure, I am a pretty huge fan of the group that produced it, Team Starkid, and if you're into musicals, you should totally check some of theirs out, but I'm going to try to be as impartial and non-fangirly as possible. So let's start with some non-spoilery things. The musical is about a guy named Paul, the aforementioned guy who didn't like musicals, and he and his friends as they try to survive an alien apocalypse of musical terror. The music is awesome and super catchy, and there's a 90% chance that the title song will get stuck in your head, like immediately, and will stay there for the next couple of weeks. Along with all the other songs, they're all just super catchy. If you were to ask me what my favorite song was, I would be in this state for a while. There's a reason I'm bi. I can't choose between options. Unnecessary piece of personal information. Okay, so the characters are all awesome. I mean, I don't like all the characters, but they're all really well characterized. That was a lot of uses of the word character in one sentence, but you know what I mean, right? Yeah, totally. The characterization is done really well. The character development, like, all the characters have character development, and that's something you don't see very often in, a 2-hour-long musical. So that was cool. And of course the acting was done really well. The musical uses and also subverts a lot of tropes that happen in musicals. I can't get into a lot of it without spoiling things, so I will leave that to the spoilery section of this video. The songs, like I said, are super catchy, and the singers are so good. That was a weird fucking sound. Okay. I'm a little bit biased because I think Starkid is cool, but there are 2 new actors in this musical who haven't done a Starkid production before, and they're both really good. And there is some LGBT plus rep, which I will get into. It's not really a spoiler, but like, a little bit. It's kind of a spoiler. So, yes. So, that's it for the non-spoilery version. So, go watch the musical and then come back, unless you don't care about being spoiled. So, now for the spoilery part of the video. Right, so, let's talk about the characters. Like I said, the main character's name is Paul. He is portrayed by someone new to Starkid shows, John Madison, and he was honestly, he was so good. He obviously doesn't sing until the very end. He's never been in a Starkid show before, right? So we don't even know if he can sing, and if he's actually gonna sing. And then he did and let it out, and my goodness, that first note, never! Leave it to Jeff Blim to have John's first song be super high. Anyway. Right, so, Paul, I loved his character. He was just so freaking relatable. And the way they characterized him was just so great. Like, the first scene where you see him in the office and he's, like, asked if he wants to go to, like, the softball thing their office is doing.
Were you gonna sign up for the company softball league?
No.
Oh. Well, it might be fun.
Yeah. I don't want to, though.
Like, just that exchange, you know exactly who Paul is, and you relate to him so much. And then also how his character develops at the end, because in the beginning he's not, like, a selfish character, but he is... You don't see him as kind of, like, a really selfless guy, right? But then in the end, he's willing to sacrifice himself to prevent this hive mind thing from spreading. So he Yeah, he's the selfless hero. Next character we're gonna talk about is Emma. I loved Emma so much. Like, just like Paul, she's so relatable. She's so done with everything. I mean, she's played by Lauren Lopez, so what's not to love? Am I right? And again, she's characterized so well. The first scene you see in the coffee shop where Jeff Blim, the dickhead customer, is there.
Oh my god, so mean!
When I heard that Corey Doris, who portrays Bill, was gonna be in this musical, I was so freaking happy, because I'm pretty sure the last show he was in was The Trail to Oregon as the grandpa, and I don't know, Corey Doris. Anyway, I was really happy he was gonna be in this production, and oh my goodness, So he plays Bill, who is basically Paul's best friend and also his co-worker. He has a daughter named Alice. He's divorced, and I love it when you see how actors have gotten better from, like, their first roles. I mean, I'm pretty sure Corey Doris's first role with Starkid was in Me and My Dick, when he was Big T, and I mean, I freaking loved him as Big T, but he wasn't a super serious character. But Bill, on the other hand, his character is just the scene. Oh my goodness. The scene in the school where Alice is singing Not Your Seed. His expressions, like, broke my heart. I almost cried during that scene, and I don't know. I loved Bill so much. Let's talk about Ted. Right, so he is basically the office asshole, and he is the freaking worst. He's convincingly horrible, yet oddly charming, and that might just be because he's portrayed by Joey Richter. Let's be honest, it's because he's portrayed by Joey Richter. But anyway, I don't know, I really liked his character. He was such a dick, and he was so funny. And the church joke was probably my favorite joke in the entire musical.
No, Charlotte. We are all from different denominations, all right? We cannot split up. I'm a Presbyterian. I'm not going to die in your dirty-ass Methodist church, all right?
And I'm not saying that because, like, I'm not religious or something. Like, I'm a Christian, but that church joke was the freaking best. Anyway. And then Charlotte. I will say it many times, but let's Jamie talk about Beatty's voice is so amazing. Like, Join Us and Die, if I had to pick a favorite song, it would be one of the top ones, I think.
It is time to die!
There's so many good songs in this musical. Oh my goodness. But yes. And Charlotte, I love Charlotte. I feel so bad for her. I mean, she's married to Sam, who's a dick, and she's having an affair with Ted, who's a douche.
Oh, Charlotte, this guy is a scumbag, all right? You could upgrade to a sleazeball.
Let's talk about Professor Hidgens. I am so glad that Robert Mannion became part of Starkid, because he truly is an amazing addition. I'm so glad he got a bigger part in this one. I mean, he was in Twisted, and as Abdul, and Abdul's twin brother Bafool, and I think a couple other characters, but I'm not gonna fangirl in this video. Nope, not fangirling. I am not fangirling. Nope. Okay. Anyway, Professor Hidgens was amazing, and his turn to the dark side is probably one of the highlights of the entire musical, at least for me personally, because you can see the moment where he turns evil. It's amazing.
He could achieve what over 50,000 years of human civilization never could. World peace.
Okay, but how do we stop it?
Yes. Of course. Stop it.
And, I mean, frickin' kudos to Robert. I need to talk about Alice. So, there is LGBT plus rep in this musical. Not a lot. One of my only complaints with this musical is that there is not a lot of LGBT plus rep, but the rep that there is pretty freaking great. So, Alice, the daughter of Bill, who lives with her mother, is gay, and she has a girlfriend named Deb. And in the beginning, you learn that Bill doesn't approve of Deb. And first, I'm like, is it because Deb's a girl? But no, the reason that Bill doesn't approve of Deb is the reason that any parent doesn't approve of their kid's boyfriend or girlfriend. And that made me so happy. Like, because when he was suggesting an alternative to Deb, he suggested a girl. Anyway, it was really small, but I appreciated it. One of the interesting things of this musical is because the musical Apocalypse, like, it's a hive mind that infects people to make them sing. It integrates the songs into the plot in a really interesting way, because normally in a musical you kind of suspend your disbelief a little bit because you know they're going to sing on stage in a way that you would not normally sing in public in real life, right? But because of this hive mind thing, all the songs, I guess, make sense within the plot line. They're all integrated into the plot line in such a way that, yeah, it makes sense. I'm so good at this, guys. I make so much sense. And it uses common musical tropes, which, I mean, Jeff Blim clearly knows his shit when it comes to musicals. I mean, like, he's written a musical before, but he knows the tropes. Like, for example, you've got the I Want song, which is the classic song sung by the main character sometime in the first act to tell the audience what they want and what their goal is in the musical, because I mean, the first thing you need to know about a character is what their goal is, what they want to do, and then the whole story is about that goal being prevented. So, in What Do You Want, Paul, sung by Paul's boss, I forget what Paul's boss's name is, but him, when he sings What Do You Want, Paul, that's the I Want song. There's all these lines in that song, like...
Well, then how's anyone supposed to sympathize with you, Paul?
During the song, Paul kind of breaks the fourth wall, like, a little bit as he kind of talks about, like, how weird the I Want song is.
This seems like a private moment.
I want you to choke me.
Like, who is this for?
And the trope is continued again in the Let It Out, because the hive mind wants to know what Paul wants. And the really sad thing is that Paul wants something now. As he told General McNamara, he wants to be with Emma. And because he now has a specific want, he can be the protagonist in a musical, which is basically his downfall. And that's so tragic and awesome and so well written that I love it. Anyway, then there's the 11 o'clock number, which is a song usually late in the second act, where the main character discovers something important. This one's a little bit less meta, I suppose. Is that the right context in which to use that word? I don't know. Anyway, because basically, Professor Hidgens is like,
This is humanity's 11th hour. And I've prepared something for the occasion.
so that's a bit of like a smaller reference, because all you really realize in that scene is that Professor Hidgens is evil, and you kind of already knew that. But I don't know. I love the reference to it, so that was pretty great. And it also uses a couple other like regular story tropes, like the wise mentor trope, which I guess it kind of subverts, because the wise mentor, Professor Hidgens, turns out to turn evil, so he wasn't as wise as they'd hoped, or he was a little bit too wise. And also the trope of the cynic always being right, because before Paul and Bill go to rescue Alice, Ted is like,
Damn,
You're
Ted.
gonna get there, and she's gonna be dead, and you're gonna die too. And that's exactly what's gonna happen if you try to go back through downtown.
and he is exactly right, because that's what happens. Alice is portrayed by another new member, I suppose, a new member of Starkid, Mariah Rose Faith. Her voice, oh my goodness. But more specifically, her portrayal of Alice during Not Your Seed was that whole scene is one of my favorite scenes in the entire musical. So, an interesting thing that I found in the musical was how the characters who have been infected by the hive mind slowly lose their individuality as time goes on, because they don't immediately become part of the hive mind. There is a short time in which they are still themselves, but they are singing. For example, the moment when Paul's boss loses his individuality is when he forgets what he's trying to tell his wife on the phone.
I forgot what it was. Maybe someday I'll remember. Goodbye.
Because before that, he's been more focused on his want than finding out what Paul's want is. But as soon as he forgets his want, he becomes entirely focused on infecting Paul and figuring out what his want is.
'Cause I want you to want. To want.
And during Show Me Your Hands, Sam has a moment of individuality where
Sam, baby, just talk to me.
Charlotte.
Sam?
and then he's right back again. And I don't know. Personally, I thought that was really, really fascinating. Then, of course, we've got Jeff Blim as everybody else, which, is that going to be a running theme in all musicals that Jeff Blim writes? Because I'd be cool with that. Because, I mean, in Shelter, Oregon, they have Joey as, everybody else. And in this one, it's Jeff Blim as everybody else. His voice, I think Jeff Blim has the most range of all of the Starkids. He can sing super low, and he has, this crazy high falsetto, oh my goodness, and he's hilarious, and I thought all of his characters were awesome. You've got General McNamara, you've got Paul's boss, you've got Sam, who's such a dick. Let's specifically talk about the songs. Right, so let's just go in order here. So we've got the first song, Guy Didn't Like Musicals, which is super catchy, and was stuck in my head from the time I heard it on the trailer. Then we've got La Di Da Da Day, which Mariah Rose Faith sings the first bits to as the Greenpeace girl, and then as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh my goodness, she's awesome. And then you have What Do You Want, Paul, which I already kind of talked about, but it's so good. Cup of Roasted Coffee. Lauren's I'm so done face throughout the entire thing was amazing. Cup of Poisoned Coffee. Any reprise of a song that has a different mood than the original version of the song, I love those types of things. So a dark version of the song, I was just... And Jamie Lynn Beatty and Mariah Rose Faith's voices together? Match made in frickin' heaven, y'all. So, I really like that song. Even though it's 30 seconds long, but it's awesome. Show Me Your Hands. Robert Mannion's siren voice. I mean, what more do I have to say? And the really awkward Her Cat Is Dead is... You Tied Up My Heart. Again, Jeff Blim's voice. Join Us and Die. I very nearly died listening to that song. Ha. I'm very funny. Join Us and Die was amazing. Jamie's voice is so amazing. Not Your Seed. I already kind of talked about this one, but that scene is probably one of my favorite scenes. And her voice is amazing. I mean, it's a weird song because it's really sad, but at the same time, such a fucking bop, guys. Showstop a Number. I already talked about Robert Mannion as Professor Hidgens, but that song, it's just so good. Then America Is Great Again. Oh my goodness. They Starkid did that. Starkid did that, guys. Like, when it began, I'm like, huh, military songs. Military songs, musicals, I always really like them. Like, just the march tempo and just... Anyway, as soon as I heard the line, America's Great Again, I'm like, y'all know what I mean. That song is awesome and hilarious. And Jeff Lynne was just so freaking good at writing songs. We have Let 'Em Come, which is kind of a reprise to The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals. It's really short, it's really good, it's catchy like the first song, so. Then we have Let It Out, which I kind of talked a little bit before. I love scenes where you can see, like, the inner workings of a character's mind just falling apart on stage. That's a very specific scene. It's like, for any of y'all Starkids fans out there, in Twisted there is a sort of similar scene, and I don't know, it's just, I love those types of scenes. I think they're really raw and awesome, and John did a great job. That song is so good. Then we get to the grand finale, Inevitable. Oh my goodness, that song. I mean, first of all, it's a medley of all the other songs, and I really like medleys. And Lauren is such a great actress. Oh my goodness. Just, I think my favorite bit is when they're doing a kick line, right? And Lauren just, like, hysterically sobs, and
Stop the number with them front and center. A kick line is inevitable.
oh frig, that bit, I'm like, holy shit, this is such a good musical. I was like that the whole time, but like at that point I was like, oh wow. And I love the decision they made to have Lauren stay in character throughout the bows.
Why are you clapping?
So, currently my filming time is 45 minutes, so I'm hoping I'll be able to shorten that down a shit ton. In conclusion, I thought it was great. It was different and also the same as their other musicals, which makes all the logical sense in the world, but it's different in that the ending isn't happy. I mean, it literally ends with aliens taking over the world, so, you know. But it's the same as in, like, it has some of the same type of comedy. So, first of all, go watch it if you haven't yet. And second of all, if you do like it, go watch their other musicals. I think they're great. I promise they're not paying me to say this. This is my honest opinion. They are my favorite group of people that makes music. And I know I could just say band, but they're not really a band. So, anyway, I don't think I fangirled too much about this video. So, yay me. So, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later. Bye. Here are some puns that I think y'all might like.
You killed Charlotte!
Wrong.
You shot her!
I shot a charlatan.
United States Military Special Unit PEIP. We call it PEEP.
Peep? I've never heard of you guys.
And you never will. Not a peep.